Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode of All the Mod 6. I hope everyone is doing great today. I know that I am, as always. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to get to today, and hopefully we'll have time to get to our main items. But first and foremost, we have done a little bit of work here on our game save. Not only on the stream, but also a little bit of work off camera. I'm going to run you through that in just a minute here. The other thing that has happened too is this mod pack has been updated, so you guys will be seeing this on Saturday. What is that? The 13th of March. Obviously, if you're watching on day 1 when it does come out. But the pack has been updated, which is awesome. I'm going to pull up here onto the side all of the updates that did occur in the most recent version. The most recent version that we are rocking right now is 1.5.4, and this is what has changed. So a whole bunch of mods have been added in, including Macaw's Fences and Walls, JEI Professions, RF Tools Dimensions, which is super exciting, something cool to get into, along with a few other ones as well, including Pipes, which I'm interested in seeing what that is, because obviously Ender.io is not in this pack, and we've been using a lot of the mechanism pipes. So I'd be interested to see what this additional mod has to offer. We're going to check it out in just a second here. They obviously updated all of the mods. They also changed over the Forge version, and the most important thing that they have done is they have increased dragon spawns. Yes, that is right. The dragon spawns are more often now in the other dimension. Now, obviously, I gotta get this off my screen here. Obviously, the best way to go about this is to reset your other dimension, which is basically just deleting the other dimension file within the game files. Again, if you're doing this though, make sure you have a backup of everything before you start tinkering with your game save files, just in case something goes wrong. Obviously, always recommend it. But that is pretty much what you would do, is you would just delete the other dimension file out of your main game save that is linked to this. Obviously, you have to make a backup, and then it would reset once you jump in the game and you go to that dimension. Also, resetting it, if you have anything there, it will be lost, so make sure you grab anything that you need. Now, I have already done a little bit of exploring there and tinkering, and I must say, we're having a lot better luck, definitely, because right off the bat, we already have a imprisoned Ice and Fire dragon, which is pretty sick. So, I just wanted to make sure that it was indeed bumped up, the spawn rate, I should say. So from there, let's actually run through the things that we have done on stream then. We do stream over on Twitch, I should mention. Link is in the description down below. Currently our schedule is Mondays and Fridays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we do play this game save. But most of the time, it's just tedious tasks or testing or building. It's nothing too crazy, and I always try to recap you guys in the next available episode, relevant to when I'm recording and when we did have those live streams. So, first and foremost, we have our farm here. Now, we did ultimately end up shifting our farm a little bit. If you guys remember before, we had the kind of stop station right here in the middle. Well, for one, it kind of caused a weird flow to the whole entire setup. And then on top of that, I ran into some issues with it, and it just made more sense to have it on the very end here. So that's what we did. We just bumped it down to the end. The other thing that we did end up doing is we actually switched out the hopper that we had here for a elite logistical transporter from Mechanism. Funny that we were just talking on the Mechanism pipes here, but we got this one up and going because it is amazing. So let's go and take a peek at this. So this is what we want, right? No, it's fluids, gases, items right here. So this bad boy has a super quick speed. It moves a lot of items all at one time, and that's really what we needed for here because it was getting clogged up so easily. We were collecting so many resources that it would sit here at the end transporting stuff for several minutes because of it. But now things are moving really quick. We also got some speed upgrades and stack upgrades on our importer into our refined storage system. So not only is it moving quickly from the interface to the chest, but it's also moving quickly from the chest into our refined storage system, which is perfect. Now you might also notice a difference here in the farm itself. Pretty much all of it is now mystical agriculture inferium essence plants. That is right, we switched it over to be those because we were producing so much crop output from our normal stuff that it didn't make sense to have it be these whole farms anymore. So all we have now is this first row that is actually our crops. We have tomatoes here, some soybeans here, some wheat here, and then finally on the end, we have some coffee bean seeds, because who doesn't want to craft up some coffee? I mean, I drink coffee all the time, and I know that I definitely would like to take the opportunity to make it in Minecraft as well. But all the other plots then are our mystical agriculture essence here. We did also get up and going another lily pad of fertility, which definitely bumps up the speed of the growth. And then we also got some fertilizer down on pretty much all of them. There's a little patch here that we must have overlooked, which is perfectly fine. If you are curious, it's this red fertilizer. It greatly speeds up the growth. I would highly recommend getting it on your farms if possible. So that is this. And we are getting a bunch of this essence. The other thing we did do, this was kind of off camera, that I realized when I was logging in today that things weren't working properly. We do have an automated system for all of our essence to be bumped up to the highest tier. And that's down here in our automation center, and we have it set up in this crafter here. So it goes through all the different tiers, and we even are up to Insanium now because we were producing so much of the essence. It kind of just got us up to that point in time, or up to that level, I should say. Now we were having some issues. One, it wasn't getting power. Somehow I had bumped off the power ender gate. Don't know, the power mod ender gate, I should say. Don't know how that happened, but it's all right. We got one back on there, so obviously it's got power now. And then I went ahead, I got a master infusion crystal up and going. It does have unlimited uses. If you guys recall, we were using a base crystal, a base infusion crystal with indestructibility on it. For whatever reason, when I did log in after the update, it had removed that indestructibility off of that crystal, and it kind of broke everything, I'm not gonna lie. So when I did look at it, you could still put that indestructibility on the crystal. Like if we go to mystical agriculture here and we look at the base infusion crystal here, you can see that you can put indestructibility on it, but for whatever reason, the one that we had, it had bumped it off of it. So I figured we had the resources, let's just make a master one, make it a little bit easier, and have that be that. So yeah, the other thing we did go ahead and do on stream is get a couple extra crafting recipes up and going. So we did put in crafting recipes to bump down the tiers of different essences, because obviously not every crafting tier is going to need that Insanium level. So you want to have it so you can bump it down as well. And then I also went in and we started tinkering with some mechanism items that we could automate as well, getting those up and going, and having a infusing factory over here with enriched diamond so that we could easily make what we needed to make with different crafting and stuff like that. We also switched up our cyclic stuff over here, so we actually have two setups for cyclic now. We have one that utilizes magma, and then the other one which utilizes slime, because there are two different types of these crystallized items that we need to get. And the higher tier one, I think we can look at here, the crystallized obsidian does require slime, whereas this one requires magma or honey. I'm just using magma because we had it, so those are set up as well. Other than that, we haven't really done too much. We did have an elephant over here. I don't know. Oh, there he is. We have our elephant Trunks from Alex's mobs. Hey, Trunks. We found this guy on stream, and we have brought him over here. We are about to die. So let's get some food on us. That was so easy to do. Yeah, so this is Trunks. He's going to be hanging out here. I got some big plans for all the Alex's mobs creatures, and I kind of want to get an animal sanctuary up and going. I think it would be really, really cool to do. So finally, the last thing that we have that we went ahead and kind of progressed on more is our food automation. Now we still need to get into the actual setup for like cooking for blockheads and so on and so forth, which we will do. I don't know if we'll get to it this episode. There's always so much to do on our list of things to do. That's why we're going to have a lot of content coming out. So definitely stay tuned. Definitely subscribe if you're enjoying things. But we're over here in our diner. I believe I showed you guys this in our last episode. We're going to come downstairs. I created this whole area down here for our diner automation, for our food automation setup, for the most part. I don't recall if I showed this on our last episode or not, but this was a cave system down here, and I figured I would just expand on it. We got it all nice and decorated with some polished blackstone and some dark oak planks. I think it looks very, very good. And we have two setups going right here. So the first one is for a bacon cheeseburger. That is right. We are automating bacon cheeseburgers, which is super cool to do. You can see the recipe here. It's no easy task. I would say there's a lot of components, and a lot of components that need to be crafted in their own right. For example, cheese, you need to craft up cheese, and even that has additional items in it that probably should be crafted up as well. But this is an extremely fulfilling meal, as you can see right there, 13.5 on the food scale. They are hunger of 25 and a saturation of 60. And as you guys saw right there, we were pretty much at starvation, and all we had to do was eat one of these, and it completely filled our food and our saturation all in one bite. Now, you might be wondering how we ate it so quickly. Well, we do have on us the gluttony charm, which allows us to pretty much instantly eat food. That's how we were able to eat it so quickly. But these things are awesome, and they're great to have on us. And this is how we are automating all of this. So I'm going to run through it somewhat briefly because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. But pretty much we have all of our different crafting recipes set up in here for all of the different components that we need for a bacon cheeseburger. So we have our bread, which is pretty standard. All it does is take wheat and it makes bread. Now we do want to keep in mind, if you are setting this up, that this bread is going to be used in a later recipe within this crafter. So we want to have it switched to INT as the output. So this basically means that the result of our crafting operation will stay in the input buffer. So instead of getting output back into the system, it's just going to plop right back down in here, which is exactly what we want for that. And I did this for all of the components that are used with the cheeseburger up until the cheeseburger point, in which the cheeseburger is then output back into our refined storage system, so we obviously can grab them. Anyway, so we went through and did it for all of the different components. Like I said, ketchup here, soy milk, because obviously we need some kind of milk for the cheese. And it was easier to get soy milk up and going with our farms than it was to try to figure out how to automate getting milk from cows. I know there's ways to do it with industrial foregoing and all that sense, but I figured that soy milk would be our best bet for automation and our quickest way for automation at the time being. We have our cheese here as well, which is, some stuff from Pam's Harvest Craft here, like a pot, some soy milk and some salt. We also have ground beef, which is raw beef with our grinder. And then finally, our bacon cheeseburger. Now, our bacon cheeseburger does take additional components that don't need to be crafted up, like a raw pork chop, which are automatically being put down in here. Now, you might be wondering why our internal buffer looks the way it does. Well, we have it set up so only the necessary items are flowing into the respective slots. So, for example, we have all of our tools, so a grinder, a juicer, a pot. We do have a skillet down there as well. And then we have all of our crafting components along with, some additional things here. These are all the items that we need to craft all the way through till the end to get to the bacon cheeseburger. Now, we have all of these other slots here filled in with leaves, and they are grayed out because there's no item there. So the idea behind this is if these were open, right? If these did not have these leaves in here, these items would continuously flow in. So tomatoes, we have a whole backlog of tomatoes within our system. So if it noticed, hey, there's empty slots in here, let's just fill it with tomatoes, it would just fill all of these up with tomatoes. So pretty much what we did, I took some leaves because I don't really keep leaves in the system. I filled out all of these empty slots, and then I hit remember the current items in the internal buffers and external buffers. So pretty much this remembered where those items were, so you didn't have to have them there, and they'll auto-populate to the respective places where they have been remembered. So since soy milk was remembered here, it's only going to populate into that specific slot. Same goes for all of the other items in here as well. Very, very useful to have. Highly recommend setting it up in this form or fashion. Now, from here, we also have a few things to link it into our system. One is an advanced exporter, because there's a lot of things that need to flow into here, and the normal exporter doesn't have enough slots to distinguish all of those. So what we got here are all the different items, as you can see, including some of the things that aren't being crafted into different components, but they're being used in the end result of the bacon cheeseburger, like raw pork chops. You do need to set it up like this. We don't necessarily have to have the tools on here, but I wanted to set it up just in case something were to happen. It would still kind of continuously work. We also have some speed upgrades here to speed up the process of importing or exporting from our refined storage system into the crafter all of our items. Then obviously on the bottom, we have an importer back into our refined storage system. It also has some speed upgrades to just pull all those items in quicker. You don't need to distinguish in here what's being pulled in because you're just pulling in everything pretty much. So that is our bacon cheeseburger automation setup. Now, I did want to actually have this set up within refined storage and have different patterns for it. However, it didn't work out the way that I want to, and I actually have our crafter over here, which has some of those patterns in it. The issue that we run into with this is because it does take tools, it just doesn't play nice with how refined storage is. So let's say we had it all set up within refined storage, and I went in and I just wanted to click on bacon cheeseburgers and be like, I think, well, we have a lot in our system, so I couldn't do it as easily right now. But let's say I went in and wanted to request 24 bacon cheeseburgers. Well, it would want to have 24 of all of the different tools that were needed in the crafting. Now, you might argue, well, why don't you just have all of those items automatically crafted up, have all of the materials you need, and then be able to craft up bacon cheeseburgers whenever you want? So just have a backlog of, let's say, cheese and bread and salt and ground beef, and then just go in and request 24 based on this recipe with all of these other components already being prepared. Well, the issue with that is the skillet. So if I were to request 24 and I had everything else all ready to go, it would still want you to have 24 skillets in order to make it up. It does not reuse tools very well. It just doesn't work properly with it. Now, I'm sure there's some way, some convoluted way to do it, or if you have any suggestions, definitely leave them down below. But that is unfortunately kind of where it is with that and why it didn't work. Now, we do have another setup here, actually, which is an automated salt maker, which is perfect for what we need. We do need to craft up salt. This is salt from Pam's Harvest Crest. It's really easy to make. All you need is a pot and a bucket of water. And we just have it set up there in our crafter. So all we got going right here is a sink, which is an unlimited water source, piped into a fluid encapsulator from Thermal. It's getting buckets that are cycling in here, empty buckets that are cycling in here. And it's automatically shifting them over to being water buckets. And then we have it exporting out the top, automatically outputting into the crafter where they're all storing up here and actually making salt, which is awesome because then we can use that to make cheese. Now, the other thing we did get up and going is a nice little plot over here for our wool farm. We're going to get some sheep in here. We're going to get a farmer going in here, and we're going to get a wool farm up and going. We also have a plot here for something additional as well. But I have rambled on so much going through everything. I think it's a really cool process. If you guys do have questions on our automation around our bacon cheeseburger, definitely leave them down below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. So you might be wondering then, hey man, you just talked for like 17 minutes straight. What are we actually doing in today's episode? Well, there are two things that I would like to get to. Industrial foregoing would be one of them, be it through mob duplication or via our sheep farm or our wool farm. And I would also like to go to the other, to show you guys how our spawn rates are looking like in the other dimension. So I think we're going to start with the other first because I've already prepped it and we're ready to go. So let us get to a waystone here and let's head to the other dimension. Actually, I want to go to our ice dragon. I said ice dragon, but it's actually a lightning dragon. Kind of mistyped that. So we are far out here, as you can see. I did not reset my other dimension. This is just the base one. I personally didn't want to have to reset it again. Just again, personal choice. I just didn't want to do that. So we're pretty far out here looking for them, but the spawn rate has definitely increased, like I mentioned earlier. Because right off the bat, we do have an ice dragon or a lightning dragon over here. He's way over there right now, but we actually did get lucky enough where it spawned on the surface, which is pretty crazy. All the ones that I've seen thus far, like with the fire dragon and such, have spawned underground, but this lightning one actually spawned above ground, which is super lucky. Now, what we could do is get a mob imprisonment tool going and capture this one and then take it back and utilize it, but that wouldn't be that much fun. There wouldn't be a fight or anything. So what I'm thinking we're gonna do is, first and foremost, let's try to get a picture of him here. I'm gonna switch my camera off real quick, and let's see if we can get a picture of him or her to kind of aid in our thumbnail. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. All right, now let me get my camera back on real quick. Oh, I just turned off the wrong one. There we go. Okay. You gotta love it. All right, so we're gonna go for it. We're just gonna take him out right off the bat. Holy smokes, I can't see anything. Look at the amount of heart damage that we do. All the hearts that pop up on top. And there we go. Definitely looks like it lagged through the ground a little bit. I'm going to try to kind of clear out this area here. Just a wee bit. So we can hopefully get in here. We did get some creative essence. You do get creative essence from these guys. I'm trying to see where we have to hit this guy at. That's always like the hard thing. All right, there we go. Okay, I think we cleared out enough space that I should be able to grab all the stuff off of him. Finding the right box is like the hardest thing here. So we did get some lightning dragon flesh. We did get the lightning dragon heart. We also got some dragon scales, and we are getting some bones along with our dragon skull, which is awesome. I do not need this terracotta. Let's get it out of my inventory. But this is perfect because these dragon scales can be used not only for armor, but for also the blocks that can then also be used to craft up forge fire bricks. So we could actually get our alloys going again, which is so cool. Now, obviously, we could go through, we could loot all this stuff. There are quite a bit of chests here. I know some people had mentioned, like, oh, you know, grab the, ooh, a copper chest plate from Ice and Fire. I don't feel like we see that often. Some people mentioned, oh, grab all the bones from the dragons because they are useful. And I would 100% agree. Grab them when you can. However, for us, if you guys recall, before this update, you could find a lot of dragon skeletons all over the other dimension. They would spawn in so frequently, it was kind of comical because you would see more skeletons, more dead dragons than you would see alive ones. So just kind of funny in that aspect. But, ooh, what are these? An amethyst. I don't think we've seen those bad boys before, and I think we're pretty good. I think we've hit all of them, right? Other than this one. Now, the one thing that has changed that I have actually noticed with this update is you don't see as many of those skeletons spawning in. You still will find them, but they're not as prevalent as they were in the previous version of this mod pack. So, if you guys are worried about it, I would recommend, if you've already explored a decent amount of the other, and you have a lot of those skeletons laying around, then keep your dimension, don't reset it, grab some of those skeletons and those bones and whatnot that you can grab, and then just go out exploring elsewhere for dragons. Pretty much like what we're doing here. That's another reason why I don't want to reset my areas, because I'd really like to be able to go back and grab some of those skeletons. Again, you can still find them, they're just not as prevalent in this update for sure. So, we got a dragon taken out. We got an ice dragon taken out. We are going to head back to the base here, actually. And I think we're going to try to hop into our next thing while we still have just a little bit of time here. All right, guys. We are down here at our underground animal automation, food automation location. I don't know what we want to even call this place. But anyway, as you see, we have 2 sheep in here. I went ahead, I got some mob imprisonment tools up and going. These guys are really easy to make. I'll show you real quick, just for those of you who are unaware of what they are. They're right here, mob imprisonment tools. You just need some plastic and a gas tier, which is very, very straightforward to do. The plastic you can get from a couple different mods here, but really your best bet would be to get it from Industrial 4 going, utilizing dry rubber. We do have a whole automated system on that already, so I'm not going to go through it. But this is going to be our setup down here. So what we need from this then, so I made the mob imprisonment tools, brought the sheep down here. Obviously, we have some grass here so that they can replenish their wool as they are kind of stripped of their wool, unfortunately. And what we're going to need next is an animal rancher. So this should allow us to actually be able to get the wool off of these sheep. Now there's also additional components that we're going to need from this, but we're going to start here. So we need 2 shears, so let's grab those. We'll throw them back in. We do need a bucket, which I'm probably going to hold on to because I think our system is going to freak out if there's a bucket put in there. Our automated salt producing system will probably suck it right up. So we got pretty much everything. A couple gold gears, which is very easy to make. We do need a pity machine frame though, which is very straightforward in itself. We just do need a block of redstone. So this is just some logs, iron, and redstone block. we can get that. And then with all that being said and done, we should be able to get our animal rancher, which is perfect. Perfecto. So with this, we're just going to want to put it into a good location here. Now we have this set up here. I think this is actually, this might be a little bit off because that's not center. I think this might actually be the center right here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bust a hole in the wall right here. We're going to place this bad boy down. Unfortunately, it did not place it in the direction that I wanted it. So what we're going to do is we are going to hopefully be able to shift this around. We have so many wrenches, it gets kind of annoying understanding, there we go, which one we need. So there we go. This should be good. Now, this is not going to have a very wide range. It doesn't need power either to start off. Right off the bat, it'll kind of do its own thing without having power, but obviously power is going to bump up the speed of it a lot. Now, we can look at the output. We can go right over here, show the working area, and that's the working area right there. So if we were to push a sheep into that location, let's grab this guy right here, and we place him right here. It should, oh, it might have been on and off cycle there. That's the other thing too, you got to kind of keep in mind. You also need fluid of some kind as well. Interesting. So what we're actually going to do, I'm going to get some holes in the wall here so we can hop behind here. I do have my F7 on. I kind of forgot about that. We're going to create a little bit of space here so we can have some working area. There we go. I do need to place something back down, though, in place of this. So we have our animal rancher here. All right, let's get this placed. Perfecto. Now, one thing we're definitely going to want on it is power. So let's go in here. Let's go to our power mod. And let's get some power going on here. A basic gate should be perfectly fine for what we're trying to accomplish here. And realistically, we could probably just stick this bad boy right underneath it, like so. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. We're having a lot of glitches going on right now for some reason. There we go. So this now has power. However, the range, effective range, is still extremely, extremely small here. So what we're going to want to do next, get up and going from industrial, is range extenders. So I think if we did a tier 6, it might be fine. Now it does actually look like this does take an additional component for it to get going. We do need a dissolution chamber, which is not something that I was planning on necessarily getting into right away. But it's not too hard to make, so we could actually get those going. All right, so we need 2 buckets, just like so. I am happy those stack up like that. We do need another machine, a pity machine frame here, which is not bad. Really, it would make sense for us to have patterns for a lot of these items. We are going to need a diamond gear, and then finally, we do need some kind of chest. So, is there an easy way to get a chest? This is one thing that I am not a big fan of, is just trying to get chests, because there are so many different kinds of them. I just want a base one. Can we just craft up a base chest? Thank you very much. I don't know why that was so hard to ask for. There we go. We got our dissolution chamber. Now, a lot of our industrial foregoing things are going to be down in this area. I'm kind of tempted to just leave it down here for the time being. Just depends on where we want to plop it. We could plop it probably right here. And we are going to need, again, some power. Let's go back to a power mod. We'll grab a basic one here and throw it right on there. So we should be good to go. So if we go back now to industrial foregoing, and we need a range extender here. We're going to do a tier 6 just to get us going. Should be straightforward. We just need some gold. 4 pieces of gold, some panes, and some redstone. So 4 pieces of gold. Gold ingots here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need some redstone. Going on here. Come on. Redstone. Reds. What did we say? I'll just grab a good amount of it because I already forgot. We were literally just talking on it. And then I think only 2 of these. Now what would the next tier be? I didn't even look. So we're going with the 6, right? The 7 would be iron. The 8 would be, I mean, we could do 8 because it's perfectly fine. Let's do 8. Am I calculating this right? Probably not. Is there a more efficient way to do it? Probably. That's okay. That's the fun of it. So, I do recall these go here. All of this goes down here. And then finally these go up top just like so. Now, I think it did need something additional if I'm not mistaken. Alright guys, so there was actually something that we needed, and it was latex. We do need liquid latex in order for us to get that range upgrade built and put onto our thing. We do need latex. However, we had our automated system here just continuously going, making us plastic and not actually back storing any of the latex itself. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this off. I have the processing unit turned off because we have plenty of plastic as it is. I'm going to let it backfill on some of the latex. But I think what we're going to want to do is actually get a setup going where it stores some of the latex, and then maybe even get into some of the like wirelessly accessible ways of transporting liquids. I think that would be really, really cool to check out. So we're gonna head over here to our diner, head downstairs. We should have everything we need now. We can throw in our latex. Should be just enough to get us our range upgrade. Hopefully this is the one that's going to work fine. I mean, it will. It might be a little bit bigger than what we need, but hey, that's perfectly fine. There are ways of like kind of adjusting these. You can do this a lot easier. You can do the math behind it, but I'm not that kind of person. Let's just give it a go. Let's see how this does. And yeah, that's way bigger than what we needed it to be. Way, way bigger. Because I think it's a range of 8, but based on the center. So it would go 8 out, and then it would be a center, and then it would go 8 more, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a lot larger than what we need. So we could honestly bump it down a little bit. But as you see, this is already working. It's already working great. We do have these guys getting sheared, and that'll just continuously go. Now, realistically, the next thing we want to do is hook it into our system, but our system is way over here, so we'd probably have to run it up through the ceiling, all the way over and back down over to here. So I guess I'll spend just a second. Well, I'll do it off camera. You guys don't need to see that. Yeah, we'll do it off camera. You guys don't need to see that. And we can turn this back off, hide the preview. This should be working great now. We have our sheep farm up and going. We could even get more sheep down here. We could get different wool-colored sheep in here as well if we wanted to differentiate different wools. But we also have a bunch of RGB honeycombs that allow us to craft up any dye that we want to. So no real need to do that for this setup here. We could always just do that within our refined storage system. So I will get this cleaned up off camera. No need to do it here. But we're going to wrap up the episode there, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like down below. Better yet, leave a comment. Love hearing what you guys have to say. If you are new here, you do want to follow along, definitely hit subscribe and bell notification and let you know every single time I post a new episode here on the channel. I do stream over on Twitch, already went over that, link in the description down below, along with a link to our community Discord if you feel like joining in that as well. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Appreciate it so very much, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy.